Meow. Hey, I'm a tall cat and this is another post from Reddit's Am I the A-hole? We're going to read the post and a few comments, then pass our own judgment. Today's post is titled Am I the A-hole for making my sister-in-law drive 5 hours home to drop off her so-called service dog? With the upcoming holiday weekend, my wife's family decided to take a new approach after being stuck in traffic every year. Seeing as my wife and I live in the largest house with the most bedrooms, they would visit us again, but they'd take a couple of extra days off to come early and beat the traffic. Over the next couple of days, we're going to have about 20 people arriving at various times to enjoy the barbecue, fireworks, and alcohol. Now, my sister-in-law is a huge dog lover. She takes her dog everywhere. She got a fake service dog jacket for the dog so she could take it into restaurants, shopping malls, and other places that don't allow dogs. On the other hand, I detest dogs. I don't want them near me, and even less in my house. Before my sister-in-law came, I was extremely clear: no dog. Get a dog sitter. Put a bowl of food and water on the floor and play Homeward Bound on repeat. I don't care what you do, but do not bring your dog to my house. I especially hate her big dumb dog because it's poorly trained, needs around-the-clock attention, and refuses to leave me alone. It's the obnoxious type of dog that will jump onto the table to literally steal the food from your hand. A couple of hours ago at about 7 p.m., SIL rolled up, opened the passenger side door to her SUV, which she bought solely to give more space to her dog, and outran old Lassie, ready to run and piss and shit all over the place. She actually had the audacity to play it off as ignorance despite my multiple text messages to her saying not to bring her dog. When I told her she couldn't bring her dog inside, she apologetically smiled and said sorry, sitter cancelled. There was no sitter. I just said no. The dog can stay in the car. My sister-in-law then tried to play off the service dog sob story about how she needs an emotional support animal, to which I responded she should actually get a real service dog. Then she started debating about how the dog would have a panic attack in the car. Yeah, nothing quite screams service animal like will flip out if left alone for 2 minutes. My wife, who has spent the last 23 years of her life enabling her sister, agreed that they could stay just one night. Everyone else was agreeing and my SIL brightened up at this idea, but I know her personality enough to know she's going to turn one night into I'll do it after breakfast and that into oops, had a glass of wine, can't drive now. I put my foot down and said no. My sister-in-law left for a night drive back home so she could figure out the dog situation, and everyone is mad at me. They called me a monster for making a young woman drive home 5 hours in the middle of the night, and I said she wasn't alone because she had her service dog. That made them even angrier. Now I'm alone in my den, people are furious at me, and I wonder if I'm just being an asshole. Guys, what do you think? I know people super scared of dogs where this would have been a nightmare. Let's have a look at some replies from users. Not the A. I despise people who lie about their untrained pet being an emotional support animal or an actual service animal. It just makes life all that more difficult for people who have real service animals. Agreed. But that isn't really the point. That isn't the crux of the matter. The point is this: he repeatedly told her no dogs and she did it anyway. Which is the entire point of putting a fake service dog vest on a pet, to bypass any rules that they feel shouldn't apply to them because they are special. Her fraud, as childish and gross as it is not really the original poster's issue. He should not be all that offended. It doesn't impact him. But bringing an unwanted animal into his home, after being repeatedly told not to do so, that does impact him. It should totally offend any decent person when someone passes off a pet as a fake service dog. People should be upset that friends or family are 1. Committing fraud and 2. Actively making life harder for disabled people. I tend to agree with these people about the faking it making it harder for people who really need an emotional support animal to be taken seriously. Do you agree? Or not? Let me know in the comments. And a different opinion. Everyone sucks here. This is one of those justified vs should situations. You're in the right. Of course you are. She wasn't allowed to bring the dog but she did anyway. You're justified to tell her to fuck off. And people will say that you're not an asshole because of it. But just because you're in the right it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. You're not allergic. You simply don't like dogs. You could survive one night with a dog. You could have been the bigger person. But you put your foot down because of principles, which like I said, you're justified to do. You didn't consider hers and their family's feelings. You didn't consider your wife's feelings. She drove 5 hours to get there. You force her to drive 5 hours in the night to get home. This is pretty fucking cruel. And then, which is unlikely, expect her to drive 5 hours back to your place. You made her entire family sad because you couldn't survive one night with a dog in your house. You could have compromised somehow. You could have put your foot down in a different way, said the dog would have to be restricted in one area for example. You didn't consider anyone else's feelings or perspectives besides your own. It sounds like you enjoy their family besides this person. So if they are decent people, and all of them are asking you to reconsider, you should already know what to do. You're an asshole. You can defend yourself by saying that you detest dogs and you warned her. But this does not make you a good person. The way you're typing this makes it sound like you truly have no sympathy for her whatsoever. A decent person would at least acknowledge how shitty it is to drive 10 hours in a day. Thank you for listening. Let me know which reply you agree with if either and please subscribe for more awesome videos. Bye.